good morning, or afternoon, whenever you're actually watching this. I want to talk about traveling. Now, I travel the country every day. I enjoy it. This is pretty much my dream job. It's not like I really enjoy it, but it's way better than the stay at home, work your 9 to 5, lifestyle. But I get to travel every single day. Even on my days off, I go to other locations. I'm a nomad. You know what I mean? Now, all my stuff's in Florida, but I don't have an apartment or a house or anything like that. So I'm traveling, and I travel every day. And the greatest thing I like about traveling is that I get to see other places. You go a few miles, and boom, different type of location, and it's awesome. I like traveling. I like different areas. I definitely like looking to see where I actually want to move to. Sorry, I saw some truckers aren't that attractive. I'll just put it that way. All right. So, I want to talk about traveling. Let's start with, in the past, humans were nomads. This is I almost said a fact, but then I would also tell you that history is all fabricated. But anyways, in the past, people were nomads. It was pretty obvious looking at the lifestyle of, let's say, Native Americans. And there's a lot of reasons that the Native Americans traveled. For one, Native Americans would travel because of survival. Because the winter's coming, they got to go down south, make it more livable, habitable location where they can survive. Were there natives that just stayed up north pretty much all year? Yeah, there were. But for the most part, most traveled because they wanted an easier life. And it would take a long time to travel down south and up north and down south and, east and west. And there's different tribes and they would combat for territory. There's a lot of issues that they had to go through that always took traveling as the route for survival. So, with that said, I believe it is 100% natural to travel. The Indians, they didn't have cars and, you name it. They didn't have airplanes. They traveled by foot. They did not even have horses in the United States. Horses were carried over from Europe. Now all of a sudden, we have horses here now, but before the white man came, there were no horses. So they traveled everything by foot, and a lot of times barefoot. But that's how they traveled. Alright, I gotta start get going. I got half a minute. Not even. But traveling, I suggest for each and every one of you, try it. I have never met, now I'm sure there's people some way or another out there that don't like traveling. Sounds weird to me, but I have never thought about traveling and then been discouraged, depressed. Oh, I gotta go to Florida. Well, it's not you have to go. If you're traveling, you're doing it by choice. It's not the 1300s in America where you're a Native American and you don't have much choice. You have total choice if you want to travel or not. If you just want to stay put for a long period of time, you'll end up getting a feeling that you just want to go. I have a friend who he's similar to me in this aspect, where he just wants to go to a random place and live there for a while. If it was Boston or you name it. So, people, freaking sun. So a lot of people are like that. They get wound up being in the same spot for a while, and they have this urge to move, to go do something, go on vacation, something, right? There's something to do. If you're an American, there's something to do in every state that's different than another state. So you could be in Las Vegas, well, Nevada, and dealing with great temperatures, and then you can go a state over, go into Colorado, and then go freaking snowboarding, you know? There's something to do in every state. There's good fishing in every state. There's different wildlife in every state. In Florida, there's gators. You just go up, what is that, Route 44? Go up Route 44 and then just check along the roadside. You'll see so many alligators. Big ones, too. I've seen freaking 14-footers. But the point is, you go someplace and there's something new to explore. And I believe, in a sense, we're naturally curious beings. We're just so curious about life, about how things work, about new locations, just countless things we are infatuated with. But to stay in the same place and watch the same television shows on your same couch, day in and day out, you go to work, the same place, then you go home, onto the same couch. I mean, doesn't that fucking get boring? Don't you have this urge to travel? I think you do. Some of you might not know it yet. Yeah, if you guys ever wonder why, I lose my train of thought and shit, it's because I'm driving a fucking semi. And if I screw up this equipment, it's a lot of money. Just throwing that out there, because I'm sure that some people are like, dude, you got boring in this video. Well, I can't just talk to you, because I'm also working. But this is awesome for me. I get to travel. I get to make YouTube videos. Like, if you really look at it, it sounds awesome. And it is awesome. And I gotta remind myself how awesome it is, because some people go to a fucking slave place, a prison, and work 9 to 5, go home, and living paycheck to paycheck, and all the problems that be, and you're just doing the same thing over and over. And then your soul just longs and longs and longs for just that, just to leave and to go to some great exotic place like in the Bahamas. God, it's fucking cold out. But your soul really wants to just go. My soul wanders. And I've said this to countless people over the last, 6 years. If traveling was free, you'd never see me again. And what happened? I travel for money. I make money to travel. Now, do I get to do everything I want to do? No, I'm stuck in the truck still. But I get to see great locations. I see, in southern Ohio here, there's a lot of hills, and you just get out of the mountains from West Virginia, and it's a decent area, I guess. I wouldn't live up north, but it's still great to experience, and, I want to travel the world. Right now, I believe Acapulco is going on in Mexico, in Acapulco, Mexico. And I want to see that next year. In a little over 2 weeks, I'm going up to my hometown, Rochester, New York, and I'm going to be visiting family. And I'm really excited for that. In July, I'm going to, I say July, it might be June, it might be around early summertime, it might be late spring. I'm going to go on a fishing trip with a buddy in Boston, like the Boston area, fishing in the ocean and then possibly in the Cape. That sounds cool. I've never been. used to always tell me good stories about that area. So there's a lot of things that I need to travel, you know, and that's why I picked my town in Florida, my hometown, that's why I moved down to Florida, so I can experience some new life, and it was the greatest thing that's ever happened. Did it cost a lot of money for me? Yeah, but guess what? It's worth it. The experience is always worth the money, for me. Like I said, I've never met somebody that wanted to go on vacation or go traveling and pissed off to do so. Now, like I said, does it happen? Probably. There are probably people that are like that. I've never met them. Never met them. Now, if you're traveling on business, on whatever, that's an easier life. That's a better life than going to your slave job. I saved up $12,000 to $13,000 working a $10 an hour job at Home Depot for a whole year, maybe a little longer, maybe a year and a month or two. And I saved up $12,000 to $13,000 to move down to Florida and be well off. That was my plan. I didn't want to go down there and then have no money. So I wanted to go down there and have money and the whole nine. It's all gone now. It was all gone a few months into being in Florida. But I enjoyed myself. I had a great... I still have a great time every time I'm down there. But all my stuff's still down there. My car's down there. And so the point is, was it worth it for me? It was. It was so worth it. Fuck money. Who cares about your money? Care about your time. Because what labor is and what you're doing every day in order to support you being at your house all the time is labor. Why don't you use that time and money to do something you actually want to do? Now, everyone has a reason why they don't move out of state. Everyone has a reason, and in Rochester, New York, where I'm from, everyone has a reason. The people that move, they go to North Carolina, Florida, California, etc. They go experience new places, they always come back. It's the weirdest paradigm, but they always have a reason why they come back. And it's a very strange one at that, usually. Now, there's a lot of people like, I used to work for a woman whose son died from a vaccination at the age of 3, and their son is buried in New York, and they wouldn't leave. They really want to leave, but they can't leave just because their son's grave's there, and I totally understand. There's people out there that okay, so I was working at the Home Depot in Rochester, New York, and this guy who I worked with travels a lot. He was maybe a few years younger than me. He was probably like 24 or something at the time. And he always wanted to move. He moved. He lived in New York City. He went to Vermont. He went all across the country and all across the world. He went to other countries and such. Like I think he said even Cambodia and some weird countries. And he lived in these areas. And he told me, out of every single place he's lived, Rochester, New York is the one that nobody wants to leave. They're born and they die here. And I thought to myself, how depressing is that? How depressing. It's stuff like that that motivates me, and I become that I have this understanding where the life that I'm choosing to live cannot be depressing. I look at life like if I'm on my deathbed and I'm looking back on it, should I have done this? Should I have done that? Do I have regrets? Blah, blah, blah. And that's just depressing to know that most people are born and they die in Rochester, New York. I mean, I've had an urge to travel my whole life. Part of it might have to be with something weird, where I was conceived in California, but I wasn't born until I made it to Rochester. Hearing stories about like my grandma coming off the boat from Italy to the United States and married my grandpa. I don't remember if it was on the boat or I think my dad was born right on the boat coming to America. So I mean, there's really cool stories, and my family and a lot of people have traveled. My mom traveled all over. She's lived in California. She's lived in New York. She's lived in Texas. She's lived all over. And I've always wanted to live all over. When I know I'm jumping these things because I just want to get to certain points. I don't want my videos being too long. So there's always been an earning for me to travel. When I was 16 years old, I was starting to get fed up with my lifestyle. At 16 years old. 16 years old, I was starting to get fed up with my lifestyle. I just wanted to go. I seen the Matrix. Maybe I didn't see the Matrix, but I didn't like the Matrix. I didn't like the realm of reality that life is. I didn't like going to school. I always skipped class. I always got high. I was that 16-year-old. Skipping school to get high and try to have fun while I can. And, well, one day, I take my brother, I call my brother, I'm like, dude, we're getting the fuck out of here. I don't remember exactly what was going on at that period, but I just remember I need to get out of here. I can't stand this shit no more. And I drove 20 miles to pick up my brother, which it was one of the very few times in our life that we lived in separate locations. And I pick him up, and I said, we're just gonna smoke weed, and we're gonna sell drugs, and we're just gonna keep driving until we find a spot that we're gonna go. So we went on I-90, Interstate 90, the thruway, and just kept going. Ended up going to near Cleveland in a place called Eustis. Stopped the vehicle, we're all stoned and shit, and we realized, man, this is liberating. This feels really fucking good. I didn't have much money, but I was 16, and you can only sell so many drugs at the age of 16. But anyways, so we're in Euclid, Ohio. And the first people we meet, we were like, hey, you want to buy some weed or something? Because we got to start hustling. And I think I only had like an ounce on me. I think that's all I had was an ounce of weed. And we were asking them if they wanted to buy any weed. And we ended up talking to them, hanging out with them. It was the very first person that we ever talked to. Literally, we drove for like 4 or 5 hours. I don't know how long it takes. Probably about 4 hours. And after driving 4 hours, the first people we just pull over in a plaza, and we're like, oh, these people look cool. And we went up to them, and we're like, hey, you want to buy some weed? Ended up hanging out with them for a while. Ended up living with this girl. Ended up working with this girl. The dude, not so much. And I ended up getting robbed some way or another. I left my car at a place I shouldn't have, and somebody ran through it and stole all my weed, so I ran out of ways to make money. And then, later that day, she told us, yeah, we're escorts. Her and her friend are escorts. And we ended up, for like a month, working with them and hanging out with them and such, getting high and drunk every day, making good money. I was the driver for these escorts at the age of 16. And we just had a fantastic time. I think I have told you guys the story. We ended up making Molotov cocktails. It was a great experience. We were dumb, rebellious fucking 16-year-olds. Well, I was 16, my brother was like 14 or 15. And my brother was 50. But I basically stole a car, stole my brother, and moved and went a couple states down and did the most ridiculous, illegal shit. And I had the greatest time of my life. And I had like no money. So it doesn't matter what age you are. You can always get into some fun. You know, no matter what your experience is. No matter, I mean, I have actually a lot of stories of traveling and stuff. But again, I don't want to make this forever. I just want to make a few of them, a few points. I just want to say that yesterday I started talking to this girl on Facebook. I didn't start talking to her. We were just talking about things and how she bought a house and such, and she loves to travel. And we were talking about traveling for a while. So it's still getting to my head, like, there are people out there that don't travel. I used to be one of them, and it was depressing. Especially if you're living like up north in the blistering cold for months at a time, and you hate the cold, and you're up there and you're stuck, and you're just hanging out inside and hibernating all winter long. You're like, that feeling was so bad for me that I just wanted to go to Florida or go somewhere warm. And you know, I feel bad for people who don't travel, and I believe it's somewhere in your soul that needs a different environment and a different look. You know, like, some people just like it in the mountains. You know what I mean? But they don't live in the mountains. So they drive or fly a plane or whatever they got to do to go into the mountains, and then their soul's at peace. I was the type of person for years before I became a traveler, a nomad, that so before I was a traveler, when I wanted to like enjoy myself, be out in nature and stuff, I would just go ride my bike into the woods and go fishing or whatever, you know, find a pond to go fishing, just have my shirt off, just chill by myself the majority of the time. But of course I would have friends that wanted to hang out in nature as well. That is still a form of traveling. You don't have to go 1,000 miles away in order to travel. You don't have to go to another country, even another state, even though each state has something great to offer. Something different, something great. And you can just go out into the woods and experience nature, because this is where your heart feels. You know, I have made videos on this, about nature and such. Check them out. But you don't have to be traveling that far just to travel. It could be an hour in a car. It could be, you know, 5 miles on a bike or something, right? You can find some really cool areas. That's all traveling is. It's just moving. Like I said, back in the past, some people didn't even have horses. They would have to go by foot, and they would travel the country. You know what I mean? So it's not such a bad thing. In fact, I think this is what your soul needs. I think this is a natural state to go and find different areas and new locations and experience traveling, whether it's survival mode needed or if it's just to awaken your soul to new things. I think that we're all curious beings, and because we don't have this kind of outlet to go travel and experience new things and have a good experience doing so, that we're finding scapegoats and different ways to make our soul feel at peace. We would go on the internet. We would go on, watch television, flick a new channel, see a new thing. But in the natural realm of things, it was traveling. It wasn't see something new on the television screen. It was going to some new neighborhood or new a different area of the country. This was the original where our minds could experience new things and curiosity, and just going into the mountains and seeing a beautiful view with a beautiful river, and you know, like, that's what our mind needs. That's what we need. But we have these new scapegoats that we stare at a screen and to admire whatever it is that we want to admire or be curious about. But once upon a time, it was traveling. It was going to see the pyramids. It was going to see the Grand Canyon. It was, you know what I mean? And it doesn't even have to be that overwhelmingly crazy, like going to the, dude, I went to see the Mayan pyramids, and, or what are they, ziggurats? Go see the ziggurats in Guatemala. You don't have to go that extreme. You can just go a few miles to your lake or whatever's near you and just admire the beauty. That's all traveling is. Traveling is a beautiful thing, and I hope that you guys enjoy that ideology that I'm trying to give you, is that traveling's a great thing. And I'm not just saying it because I do it and I want other people to do it because I want to feel like I'm in with the popular crowd. I'm saying it because I'm experiencing it and I know how great it is and how much my soul, and I've seen other people's souls long this, even if they don't even know it. Maybe you should look inside of you and think about your situation, and, you know, if you're starting to gain weight, you're starting to become a couch potato, you don't like the winter time, and you just want something, and you don't know what it is, this is what it is. Go travel. And if you're a manly man, and you're like, no, I just got to take care of my family at home and such like that, your family's probably yearning, wrong word, I've been using that wrong word for a while now, yearning to go out and get something different, you know? It's not all about just having your homestead, that's awesome, but even when I get my homestead, best believe there's gonna be times I'm traveling, even if it is just, you know, a mile to the nearest fresh body of water, you know what I mean? So I hope you guys get something out of this video. I definitely could have tapped into a lot more things, but this is getting close to half an hour. And once again, I thought this was going to be a 10-15 minute video. What the fuck do I have to say about traveling? You know what I mean? I just want to get to the straight points. And 30 minutes later, damn. I do it every time. I can just talk and talk and talk. So, I hope you guys get something out of it. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And think about traveling and think about how it can spice up your life. Thanks, guys. Bye.